Hi, I'm Veronica Garza, and I'm very excited to tell jokes for you this evening for the Hot Festival. But before I do, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge the time that we are right now in history this year, everything that's happening, the innocent lives that are being lost, and not to the coronavirus, but I'm talking about the innocent black lives that are lost at the hands of the police. I think we all need to stay on the same page and notice that Black Lives Matter. As a queer person of color, I know I wouldn't have the rights I have today if it weren't for courageous black leaders. So if you're out protesting, great. If you're not protesting, I hope that you're giving your money to black organizations or black owned businesses. And don't text your black friends asking where to give. That's why we have Google. I'm going to say it again, Black Lives Matter. And if you don't agree with that, you're definitely not going to like my comedy. So tune out now if you happen to be one of those assholes. But I'll say it again, Black Lives Matter, and thank you, Dixon Place, for giving me, this queer Mexican woman, a chance to tell jokes and hopefully provide a little bit of escapism during this time. Hello, Hot Festival 2020. I'm Veronica Garza. I'm very excited to be here. I have my dog, who you might see in this area, taking a nap, so because he already knows all my jokes. And I would like to say that I have two very special guests with me as I perform tonight. These two pimples right here on my lip. I did not invite them, but they're here and they are agreeing to stay for the whole show and maybe for tomorrow and Saturday as well. So, you know what? Yeah, I guess we got a crowded house. Let's get this thing started. I want to say before I start really spilling these jokes that I've broken up my comedy tonight into 4 parts. I love organization. There are 4 parts. First, it will be woke. Second, it will be gay as hell. Third, New York City, and the 4th will be shit to take up time, so I have an entire half hour. So let's just get this fucking thing started, right? It's a weird time for me to tell jokes, but I know that I can do this because I'm a professional. Believe it or not, even though I've been wearing this shirt 2 days in a row, I am a professional. I've handled trying to bring funny out of very weird situations, and I'm very good in weird situations. For example, the night that Trump won the election, my girlfriend and I had sex. And I don't know if you know how difficult it is to make a woman orgasm after Trump has won the election. It's hard, but I did it because that's what lesbians do. That and talk way too much about the WNBA. We're both good at both. We're talking about, like, the cops are in the news a lot. We don't need that, but we do. And I've had many interactions with cops because I don't know how to shut my mouth. But the most recent interaction I had with cops, I had to disclose that I do stand-up comedy. And it was weird. The officer asked me where I was earlier that evening, and I told him, sir, I was at a show. And he goes, oh, what'd you go see? I mean, it's like, no, sir, I was performing. And he looked at me up and down and was like, okay, what? And I said, I'm a stand-up comedian. I make people laugh. And he did not. And then he said to me, if you're a comedian, tell me a joke. And I said to him, I believe the police practice fair and unbiased justice. And he looked up from his notebook and he said to me, oh, so you're one of them Brooklyn comics? And I was like, yes, sir. A lot of people, because of the cops, of course, many people are protesting, and I cannot because my girlfriend has an autoimmune disease. She's white. I mean, you already knew it by that. But we can't go protest. I remember 2-3 years ago during the Women's March, you remember a lot of white women wearing these hats with pussies on them, which was attractive, but also I'm like, girls, calm down. And my girlfriend went to the Women's March, and I did not go. And people asked me if I went, but based on the news, it was like, what, 75,000 women going to the Upper East Side? So when you ask me if I went, I'm going to tell you, yo, if I hear 75,000 women are going to the Upper East Side of Manhattan, I'm not going with them to march. I'm going to DSW. And I'm trying every fucking thing on. And then I'm getting in line, and there's no line. I'm not waiting. I'm just going right up to the register to pay. And now, people are protesting for BLM, and we still can't go. And someone texted me the other day, and they're like, yo, are you going to go protest? And it's like, no. These people, everyone's in the streets. I'm going to DSW. And I'm trying everything on. And I'm stealing it, because fuck the system, right? Guys, just burn it all down. But also, look at how cute my shoes are. Let's talk, like I already told you, let's talk about some gay shit. Obviously, I'm very gay. I remember when I told my mom I was gay, I told her over the phone, which I think is very old-fashioned because no one calls anyone anymore. But I remember I told my mom, hey, I was over the phone, I called her, hey, I'm gay. And I heard her say under her breath, like she held the phone down, and she told my dad, I told you. And then I think I heard her like slip him, like, I know the sound of a dollar bill being handed off. I think she gave my dad money, so I guess he won that bet. But what's interesting is when I told my mom I was gay, the thing she told me directly was, that's okay. Just don't date anyone ugly. Which I think is interesting because she managed to be both progressive but shallow at the same time. And that's amazing. And also, I will note that while she was pregnant of me in the 80s, she played softball. So if I caught the gay from anyone, it's from my mother. Thank you, Maria. Recently, like last year, I went home and I actually came out to my high school golf coach. Yeah, I came out to my high school golf coach. And when I told my golf coach this, the first thing he said to me was, I always knew you'd be gay by your golf swing. And I didn't know you could tell that. I just thought you could tell I was gay by the fact that in high school I was on the golf team. I was the only member of that team. I like I mentioned before, I have a girlfriend, very adorable, and she takes pole dancing classes. So if I tell you she takes pole dancing classes, I also don't have to tell you she's white, right? Because like white women pay for pole dancing classes. I'm a minority. We learn on the job, okay? You don't have to tell me anything. You don't need an internship. I know what to do. And I'm lucky. I'm in love. It's cool. We have a dog who you might see in the corner here. There's some little ears here. I don't know if we'll be able to edit it out. But yeah, we have a dog. Because I don't know if you know this, 2 women cannot make a baby. But they can make a very cute puppy. We named him Colin, mainly because I want to raise a white child. And you should see him. He's just walking around Brooklyn, just shitting everywhere like he fucking owns the place. Like every guy named Colin in Brooklyn. And he's a very cute puppy. A lot of people ask, he's a rescue. A lot of people ask what breed he is, and I'm thinking just based on just like his calm demeanor and his very short fur and his submissive attitude that he's definitely a bottom, which works very well with my dominant energy. Yeah, we have a dog. It's crazy. We've been together almost 4 years, and we moved in together probably about a month ago, which is weird because we've been together almost 4 years. We're two lesbians that have been together almost 4 years, and we hadn't moved in together. So if we didn't move in together after the pandemic, I would never be able to call her my girlfriend in public. Legally, I would have to call her my special friend. So I got past that, and now we live together. It was cool for our 3-year anniversary because she bought me a new pair of Jordan 4s. And then the next month, it was my birthday, and she bought me a new tattoo. So if I were an 18-year-old boy, I would have been crushing life. But I'm 36, so I'm two 18-year-old boys crushing life. That's a math joke. Didn't know I had it in me. We've tried role playing. We've been together 4 years. We've tried a lot of weird stuff. But one of the most interesting things we've tried is role playing. And our favorite thing to do before this is so antiquated now. It was called Strangers in a Bar, and so what it was is she would be a woman alone at a bar having a drink, and I would be a man randomly that doesn't know her that enters a bar. So she would be by herself drinking the drink alone, and I'd walk in, being the man that I am, and I see a woman alone, and I'm like, oh, she definitely has to hear what I have to say. So I'd go talk to her. And I go, excuse me, miss, may I buy you a drink? And she would look at me and say, no, thank you, I'm good. And I would respond, okay, have a nice night. And then I would go to the end of the bar, and I would sit down by myself, and I'd leave her alone, and I wouldn't talk to her for the rest of the night. And that's it. Sometimes you don't need to have sex to make your partner happy. She's cool. I talk a lot of shit about her, but she's great. I took her home to Texas to meet my family 2 years ago, and as soon as my mom met her, she invited her to the zoo with us, which was, it's not like a weird tradition. Just tickets were $5 at the Dallas Zoo, so it was like, hell yeah, let's make it a family affair. And it was interesting because it was my Mexican mother, my Mexican brother, his wife, Mexican, their 2 kids, also Mexican. And my brother doesn't like when I tell that joke because he's like, man, why you gotta tell they're Mexican? Like, that makes it seem like they're not my kids. I'm like, it could be any Mexican man's kid, right? Anyway, it's my Mexican family, myself, and my platinum blonde white girlfriend. And we're at the zoo, and right before we walk in, my girlfriend says to me, can she push my nephew's stroller? And I'm like, by all means, yes. Do you know how rich we looked right there? Like, I'm 5'2" as a Mexican woman. I felt 5'5" that day. Like, that. It was a dope feeling is what I'm saying. Like, it was just me nodding to a whole bunch of other Mexican dudes in the reptile section, all wearing Jordans, like, we made it. It was a very cool feeling. It was very great. Gonna move on now to the New York section. Look at that. We handled my gay shit very well, as we should. It's 2020. And let's talk about New York. I love New York City. I live here now, as I've mentioned, with my girlfriend, and throughout this entire pandemic, I've only seen her face. So honestly, even though I can't see you right now, I'm very excited to see you, because while her face is very cute, I just want to see anyone else right now, even if it's through a lens. Mainly because as I've moved into her apartment, I haven't told you that she lives in a studio. So it's been her, myself, and this dog in this studio. I don't want to shit on it, but also it's so small. Like, if I take a shit in it, I need to check in with her to make sure she's on the other side of the room, because I don't want to hurt her. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's such a small place. And I know that it sounds very cliche for me to say this as a Mexican woman, but I would like to erect a wall. I want to build a wall. I will fund a wall. I will make that wall in that apartment. That's all I'm saying. It's just anything. I just in that studio. Living together has been interesting because we find out new things about each other. For instance, she didn't know that I was allergic to strawberries, and I didn't know she was allergic to cleaning. See? Trade-off. And luckily, I like to clean, but I did recently hurt myself vacuuming, which is the most Mexican I've ever been. As fifth generation, I felt very, with mi gente on that. But I hurt myself vacuuming, and I hurt my sciatica. And for those who don't know what your sciatica is, it's the part of your back that hurts once you have health insurance. Look it up. One of the things I've noticed in us living together, just in general, a lot of people are just talking about like how people are not real New Yorkers if they left New York City during the pandemic. And we stayed, but I still don't consider myself a real New Yorker because I know how to drive. That's true. Real New Yorkers can't drive. And if you see a New Yorker yelling at you about how they lived in New York City their entire life and they've never left, they're not bragging. It's just that they're stuck there and they can never get out. So if you have a car, offer them a ride. They might just need to get over a bridge or a river. Just be nice, pay it forward. New Yorkers are nice. You just gotta find them. But also, it's weird. Have you ever talked to a New Yorker who actually does have a driver's license? You all can't drive either. Just watching a New Yorker, like a real New Yorker, try to parallel park is like watching the New York Knicks play. Like, it's frustrating, and it's like, who do you blame? The owners or the players? I don't know, but we just gotta get them out of there and make some changes, right? I don't mean to like talk shit on New York City either, cause like when I first moved here 9 years ago, like I lived in my car for 2 weeks, and when I tell real New Yorkers that, well, first they're like, fuck you, just cause you know how to drive, but two, they don't give a fuck. They don't care that I lived in my car for 2 weeks. They are impressed by the fact that while I lived in my car, I put an ad out in Craigslist for the passenger seat next to me. Which was interesting because people would hit me up and they'd be like, what borough are you in? And I'd just be like, where do you need to be, homie? Like, I'll meet you halfway. You want air conditioning? I'll lower the window. I love New York. I do. What I'm just trying to say is I love New York. And I know that I'm a transplant, so one of my favorite things to do in New York is to from people. And for those who aren't familiar with what that is, let me share this with you. So, say you're out one night, and it mainly happens to POC. And it's mainly, the experience happens from a white person. For instance, I'll be out at a party in Bushwick in someone's old loft, and I'm having a drink, and it's like the third drink, so everyone's saying shit that they're very like, they're trying to find out who everyone is. So I'm having my third vodka soda. It's a Tito's because I'm gluten free, because I got this white girlfriend, got to keep her healthy, so I got to be healthy too. And someone named Kirsten, it's always a Kirsten, they come up to me and they're like, Veronica, where are you from? And I tell them I'm from Texas. And they go, okay. But like, where are you from? And I have to tell them, Texas. And they're like, nothing. Then they just turn into a speck of dust. I'm just kidding. But it's very interesting because if I flip it in Brooklyn, I'm like, Kirsten, where are you from? And she goes, Brooklyn. And I put my drink down and I'm like, Kirsten, but where are you from? And it's always Ohio. A locked in mystery. And now I don't know. I don't want to shit on New York, but this is what I call other. This is the fourth part. This is what I call other weird shit. How am I on time?
19.
Huh?
19.
Perfect. I don't have any college debt, mainly because I didn't go to college. Just kidding. I don't have any college debt because I actually got a scholarship, and it's an interesting story because I wanted to go to college for free, and I did the research when I was 18, and I realized that what you have to do is find a school in a state that doesn't have that many of your people that also offers a major of what you want to be when you grow up. You see what I'm saying? But like, unfortunately, the University of South Dakota doesn't let one major in being a bad bitch. So I went to Kansas and I studied Spanish. And I'm going to say it again. I went to the University of Kansas and I studied Spanish, which is stupid. I remember the day of my college graduation, my Mexican mother, who likes to go to the zoo, she saw my degree and she was like, pendeja. And I was like, what does that mean? But it's a dumb thing to do. Like, I went to Kansas to study Spanish. That's like taking an African history class that's taught by a white woman, which is something I also did in Kansas. It was stupid, I know. I was very dumb, very dumb. But I don't have any college debt, and a lot of people talk about eliminating college debt or eliminating loans, but I really think a couple of you need it because you all majored in some really dumb things. Like, if you majored in English, forgive your debt. If you majored in math, forgive your debt. If you majored in psychology, forgive your debt. But if you majored in like Elvish or 16th century literature, you need to pay a lot of people back because you wasted a lot of different places money, and you should be held accountable for that dumb decision. You need to be reminded what you did because we're all doing the same thing now. We're not working. I actually, when I went to college for free, I got a scholarship for my PSAT scores, and not everyone takes your PSATs, but I got a scholarship for my PSAT, which, as we know, is your pre-SAT, which is the test you take to practice for the SATs. I got a scholarship for the test you take to prepare for the test you take to get into college. That's like getting a medal for stretching instead of for actually running the New York City Marathon. It's a weird way I got into school. And we're all doing the same thing, like I said before. I'm not bragging. You hate me now. It's okay. It's all right. I'll stop talking about the fact that I don't have any student debt. And I know you've had to deal with my face now for like 22 minutes, and I'm sorry. I am aware of my symmetry, and I'm also aware of the fact that I have active bitch face, which is kind of like resting bitch face, except you can tell that at one time in my life I played soccer and that I was really good. One guy on the internet, trolls are fun, someone recently called me the Walmart version of Sarah Silverman, which is accurate and in my price range. So I retweeted it, give credit where credit's due. And this is who I am. And I don't want to spend too much of my time, and hopefully you've enjoyed my performance tonight, my jokes, or if not, make fun of them and find me on social media. But I will bring it back to, once again, that to Black Lives Matter, and that I grew up, I'm very lucky, I went to a predominantly black elementary school, middle school, and high school. And I will say this, a lot of people talk about being woke, which is just white people's way of saying, oh, I just realized what's been going on like forever. I can't ever say I was woke, because I've known about this shit my entire life, it seems like. And I grew up with a lot of, I grew up going to these predominantly black schools. I was lucky enough to have black educators, and it was cool because they would like pull us to the side, and they'd pull me to the side and be like, Miss Garza, the system isn't for you. The system is against you. You need to work harder. You need to be smarter. And you're a smart ass. You need to be even faster than you think you already are. And I was like, you know what? You're right. And you should just say, everyone I was in these classes with, it was a predominantly black school and just this Mexican girl. And they were either doctors or lawyers or successful people in business and successful entrepreneurs. And I became a stand-up comedian. So today I want to say to all those black educators that told me and molded me, I'm sorry. I let you all down because of doing comedy. But also, thank you for not making me be as dumb as these white people. I'm Veronica Garza, guys. Thank you. Good night. Woo! Well, we did it, didn't we? I'm going to give you 2 seconds to catch your breath from laughing so hard. And okay, I know that's not enough time, but I got to get through this. I got to wrap this up. Find me on Facebook, Veronica Garza. Remember this face? That'll be on the profile pic. Find me on Twitter, Veros_broke, like have no money. Find me on Instagram, Veros_got_jokes, which, as you know, I have a lot. Also, special thank you to Ellie, Ashley, the whole Dixon Place crew. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to share my talent with all these lovely people out there that I can't see through this lens. Thank you so much, Dixon Place, Hot Festival 2020. Also, remember, my half of the proceeds are going to Power Play NYC, which, if you haven't looked it up, it's a great organization that provides leadership in sports and an overall growth for young girls of color in New York City. It's awesome, and of course I'm always going to kick it forward to some types of sports related thing because, as you know, I'm hella gay. Once again, thank you so much. I'm Veronica Garza.